გამარჯობა.
გამარჯობა.
Chanel, David, როგორ ხართ?
გამარჯობათ.
გამარჯობა, David. David, როგორ ხართ?
სასიამოვნო
კარგად.
კარგად. და შენ?
მეც კარგად. მადლობ.
I had a question about Georgian surnames. Like, for example, I see many surnames like yours that end in Shvili. Does it mean something or in Georgian, or is it?
Okay, it means გამარჯობა, Richard. Okay, ყველაზე ხშირად, most often Georgian surnames end with either Shvili or Dze. Shvili means a child, child of someone. So a daughter or a son. Shvili. And Dze means the son of.
The son.
The son. Yeah. For example, Georgadze, Georgi's son.
The son of George.
Son of George. Yeah. And the Shvili means just child, the daughter or a son. But of course, there are some other endings depending on the part of Georgia. You can always tell which part of Georgia the person comes from depending on the ending of the surname. What else do you know about Georgia? Or you might have some questions concerning Georgia, Georgians, Georgian language.
Yesterday, we were in a meeting and there was somebody called Tamara. And Tamara is obviously a very famous Georgian name because you had a queen, right? Called Tamara. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about Queen Tamara.
Queen Tamar, Italian, it was a very important figure in Georgian history, probably because Georgia was the strongest in terms of internal and external political affairs, Tamaris, and a lot of buildings, a lot of constructing took place in the period of Queen Tamar, the Tamaris, and that's why a very interesting thing about Georgia, wherever there is a castle or some kind of construction, the bridge that we don't know the name of, everyone calls it Tamaris Tsikhe, Tamaris Khidi. So many new constructions were built, so many new bridges and infrastructural, so to say, buildings were made Tamaris, the period of Tamar. That nowadays this kind of places or the buildings, castles, bridges which have no name are called Tamaris, belonging to Tamar or made by Tamar. Okay.
One funny thing for me is that many Georgians are called David when it's pretty pretty rare.
Again, why? The King David was the King David was a grandfather of Tamar, by the way.
Okay.
So this all mentioned about Tamar started in David's period. David Aghmashenebeli, we call him David the Builder. So he started this, and then Tamar continued his, so to say, period, golden period of Georgian history. Brian, გამარჯობა. Davidti, the other Davidti, Zacharias. So, David Scott, let us start. Today, so as planned, we are going to discuss what I have prepared for you. Little tip. About a little bit of shopping, but for that we need what? We need some lexis, and we need, here we go, verbs. A couple of verbs today. So we just know just one verb, the verb to be so far we have discussed. And now we will have a little bit closer contact with the Georgian verb, but tomorrow I plan to do the little more detailed introduction of it. So we know the Georgian grammar is difficult, and most difficult part of Georgian grammar is the verb. Yeah, do we know anything about it? Georgian verb, why is it so difficult, or no structure, system, verb system, nothing? How about that?
Apparently, it's because it doesn't follow the usual standards of conjugations or something.
so there are too many details. And I'd rather say it doesn't follow the usual pattern of the verb. Pattern. And the thing is that, for example, something that in different languages can be marked by the different words, different grammatical categories are given separate words. Yeah, there. In Georgian, it is not a word, but it is a marker of the verb. Okay, so in Georgian, the verb is very powerful. And what I mean is that one verb can be the sentence, the whole sentence. One verb can be translated as very long sentence in English. Why? Because verb has got a lot of markers, and if we make the breakdown of Georgian verbs, these markers are translated into separate words in English. Yeah. So with the word, it is easy. You just try to look up the meaning and the translation of the word, and you get the general idea about what English, for example, sentence means. But what can we do with the marker? For example, just the marker m can mean me as an object. Okay, you can find me in the dictionary. What to do with this m marker? Nothing. When they say the Georgian verb is difficult, this is what is meant. So one verb has got the category of person, number, case of the subject, also the tense, contact, aspect, and everything in one word, not even any auxiliary words. Okay, that's why Georgian verb is difficult. We will, and there are four big classes for conjugation, for types of conjugation in Georgian verb, which we will discuss tomorrow. Today, just the basics, several verbs. I'm sharing with the relevant lexis. Gargi. That's this. Okay, let me open this one. So it is shared. You can see it, huh? Okay. So before we start with the verb, we need the subject and object. Georgian verb has a subject. Most often Georgian verb has an object. Subject case is nominative with the biggest part of Georgian verbs, and object case is dativi. Dative marker is s. But what happens with the personal pronouns? Let me go through the nominative and dative case of piris natsosachelebi, personal pronouns. I, me. Me, me, not me. This is me, not me. Shen, you, in the nominative case as a subject. Shen, you, dativi. Is, he, mas, him. So is not, of course, just he, but we know that is also she and also it, which means that mas is also him, her, and it. Okay. So is he, mas, him, her, or it. Chven, we, chven, as, does not change. The same. Tkven, you as an object, dativi. Isini, they, subject case, nominative. Mat, them, object case, dativi. As we see, third person is different. In fact, as in English, first person is also different. Me, yeah. Gargi, about utnilebiti natsosachelebi, which is possessive pronouns, which is also in English possessive adjectives. Chemi is mine or my. Chems, mine. Okay. But the thing is that s here is optional. S is a dative marker. When chemi is put in the dative, s is optional. As for me personally, I prefer to use s like chems megobars, to my friend, or chems shoblebs to my parents, but it's disappearing. There are two groups of people who believe that chem should not have this dative marker. It's obsolete, a little bit older form, and some little bit more conservative believe that, a little bit more conservative teachers believe that C should stand there. So I belong to a little bit more conservative type of teacher. So I always tell my students that I am using chems. So in my case, possessive pronoun, chemi, mine, chems takes. Sheni, shens. Again, so here is optional. It's kind of disappearing, but a lot of people still use it. Misi, in case it is his or hers or its. Yeah, we are here on the we're doing possessive pronouns, that is possessive adjectives. Yeah. So what happens to the third person, which is his, hers, and its? Misi. E here is a nominative marker. Let me show it to you. In case of dative, there is no nominative marker naturally, but the word does not take any dative marker, miss. So this here is not dative marker, it is the part of the stem, miss. So here this, as we can assume, finally disappeared, okay? Just a minute, this, there used to be most probably, and it disappeared, so miss. 20 hours, 20 hours, dative. 20 yours, nominative, subject case. Tkvens, yours, object case, dative. And here we go. Mati, theirs, nominative, subject case. Mat, and here it used to be mats, but it disappeared. It used to be mats, dative, object case, but we say now mat. Okay, this is concerning personal pronouns, possessive pronouns. Arsebiti sa, xe, lebi, da zetsartavebi. Arsebiti sa, xe, lebi. Okay, just a minute, let me put it right. Sakhelebi, nouns. Zetsartavebi, adjectives. Tsigni, a book, nominative. Tsigns, book, dative. Sakhli, house, nominative. Sakhls, house, dative. Sachukari, sachukars, present. Mankana, mankanas, car. Sajmeli, sajmels, food. Zviri, zvirs, expensive, expensive. The thing is that adjectives and numerals can also take case markers, because in Georgian, adjectives and numerals can stand as not exactly as nouns, but can be used without a noun. So in order to avoid tautologia, this repetition, you can say, are you going to buy an expensive car or a cheap car? In Georgian, we can say, I'm going to buy an expensive. So not that an expensive car or an expensive one, but an expensive. And if an adjective is used without a noun, very often it takes the noun category, such as the case and plural markers. In English, we use one as a pronoun, an expensive car and a cheap one. In Georgia, we don't say one, we don't say car, but we say expensive, an adjective which takes all the markers of the noun. That's why zviri, zvirs, expensive in the nominative, expensive in the dative. Iapi, iaps, cheap. Kargi, kargs, good. Kargi, nominative, e nominative marker. Kargs, dative, su dative marker. Sudi, suds, a bed, in the nominative, dative. Lamazi, lamazs, didi, dids, a big house. Didi sachli. Didis, it is just, yeah, did sachlis. And yeah, here we are. What, one more minute, a couple of more examples before we. Patara, pataras, small in the nominative, small in the dative. Sota, sotas, a few. Or a little, by the way. For both countable and uncountable, we use sota, sotas. Okay, but what happens when we have to find the adjective and the noun together? For example, what happens in case of a big house? Didi sachli. Let me correct it. Didi sachli. Look at it. It is a big house. So when an adjective and a noun need to be put in the dative, adjective, all kind of descriptive words, all kind of modifiers, they usually lose the marker. Did sachlis. So didi as an adjective and as a descriptive word with a noun loses the dative marker, and it is represented with the form of the stem. Sachlis dative. Patara kwekana. Patara kwekanas. Patara does not have any nominative marker. So the nominative marker here is 0. And patara kwekanas, here we understand that patara is in the dative case because the noun, which it defines, is in the dative. Saintereso zigni. David, can you put this into dative? An interesting book. Saintereso zigni. What will be the dative of it? Dative.
Intereso signis with an S. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Saintereso signis. For example, an interesting book, but I am reading an interesting book. Saintereso signis. This is dative.
May I have a question?
Yes, of course.
Why are we talking about dative? Is it like, what does it express in Georgian? Is it like possession or is it?
It is the object case. So now we are going to go through a couple of Georgian verbs. And before we do so, we need to set right the subject and object cases here for the simplest constructions. So dative is object case for the biggest part of Georgian verbs. Okay, not always, but the biggest group of Georgian verbs take object in the dative.
Okay, so if you use a sentence, you have always to use the almost always the object in dative.
Okay, yes, exactly.
Makes sense. No, okay, yeah.
Okay, but so saintereso zignis. David, you again. In the first case, saintereso, is it nominative or dative? In the first case,
Sainteresno is, I'd say it's nominative, and then signi is dative.
So saintereso zigni. So we are looking at just look at it. If we look at just this part, saintereso zigni. Look at this. What is the case for this?
So the whole is dative.
That nominative, nominative marker, yeah. What is the nominative marker? What is the dative marker? So, right?
Yes.
So here, saintereso. But my point is that, okay, for example, in the first case, saintereso, this is nominative. In the second case, saintereso is the dative.
Right.
Why?
The final doesn't change in the first case, right?
In the first case,
I mean, for the first verb, sainteresno, the final doesn't change whether it's.
But as long as it is all, it is final in case of saintereso. This is what you're saying, yeah. But the thing is that, look at it. Zigni in the first case is nominative, and saintereso describes a nominative noun. That's why it is nominative. Okay. In the second case, Sa intereso describes the dative marker. That's why we can assume that it is dative. As long as none of these, sa intereso, first one, and sa intereso, the second one, they don't have dative markers. So how can we assume what is the case of that descriptive word, which is determiner adjective here? By the case of the noun they describe.
Yes. The final.
Okay. In case of didisachli, the first example, and ditsach, it is simple because the adjective has got the nominative marker didi here. And in the second case, ditsach, this nominative marker disappears, and we can assume that this is dative because it describes the dative marker. But what happens when the nominative marker is zero, markerless, which sometimes happens, like in sa intereso, yeah? So we can guess the case of the adjective by the word it describes, by the noun it describes. And the case of the noun it describes in the first case is nominative, and the second case, tsignus, dative. Kate, can you please? Soda kava. What? No? Okay. So Mark, soda kava. This is little coffee. Soda kava.
Soda kavas.
Soda kavas. Okay, good. So soda kava in the first arc. What is soda case?
It's nominative.
Nominative. What about in the second case? Soda kavas. What is soda case?
It's dative.
Sorry, huh? Exactly. What is the nominative marker for kava, Mark? Here, does this word have any nominative marker?
Well, since it ends in a vowel, it doesn't have any nominative marker.
Sorry, what about the dative marker here?
It's the S.
Yes, exactly. Why there is no nominative marker here, Mark? There is no nominative marker. Why?
Because it ends in a vowel.
Exactly, and only the words that end in the stem of which and consonant ending nouns take nominative marker. Madloba. Shemteki, Richard. Lamazi Kalaki, which is a beautiful city. So what is the case, Richard?
This is the nominative.
Okay, so that's, okay, what are the markers?
E.
And E everywhere. What will be the dative of it?
Lamas kalax.
Lamas kalax. Lamazi is an adjective determiner. Lost is lost, it's a marker. And kalax, dative, with the dative markers. So, madluba. Tamak, gamarjoba. You have ERP produkti, as long as it is going to be some shopping conversation. ERP produkti was a good example.
So it will be EAT productis, right?
Okay, so it is good, but you have to remove nominative markers.
Oh, so it will be EAT products.
Sorry. ERP products.
Yeah.
Cheap products. Argi sachukari, good present. Argi sachukari. Okay. Ryan, can you please?
So it would be kargi. So karg, sachukars, something like that, I think.
You're right. Karg sachukars. Very good. Kavak. The next, Janine Kamarjoba, Mati Tsigni, their book. Can you put Mati? Sorry, Mat Tsigens. Ochach. Good job. Ochach. Mat Tsigens. So to sum up, nominative marker, as we said, E or markerless. Dative marker, S. This is the general rule. Okay. The verb idva, to buy. We usually say that, and this is true, that Georgian verbs have no infinitive because Georgian verbs were made from nouns. First was a noun, then was the verb. That's why when we want to give the infinitive, we very often give the noun form, okay, to the students. So idva is not necessary, is not very accurate translation for idva. Tuba is not really very accurate because idva is a noun. But yeah, when we teach to foreign students, we have to translate it somehow, yeah? It is idva is to buy or buying, gerund rather than to buy. The same, gadachda, to pay. Let us try to conjugate. I buy me v'qidulob. You buy shen qidulob. He, she, it buys is qidulobs. Chven v'qidulobt, tkven qidulobt, isini qiduloben. Here we can see some signs are like me v'qidulob in the blue. Shen qidulob, no blue signs, is qidulobs. So in blue, I have written here the subject markers. First person subject marker is v. Second person subject marker does not exist. Third person subject marker is s. Chuen, plural markers are v, again, first person subject marker, but plural markers t, n. What happens in case of gadachta? Me vichdi, I pay. Shen ichdi, you pay, is ichdis. Chuen vichdit, v, t. Tkwen ichdit, t. Isini ichdi an. This is different. Third person plural marker, different. Gavagzelet. Gaketeba, to do, make, or yeah, to do or to make, to produce. Me vageteb, shen aketeb is aketebs. Chwen vagetebt, tkwen agetebt, isini ageteben. Shejma, or chama, to eat, eating. Me vjam, shen cham is jams. Chven vjamt, tkwen jamt, isini jamen. Today we will focus on just these 4 verbs. First thing to remember about present tense, so these verbs are on present, as we can see. The first thing to remember about present is that I am eating and I eat is the same in Georgian. There is no difference in between English present simple and present continuous. Everything is present in Georgia. You need time adverb to be specific whether you eat or you are eating, whether it is now, achla, or whether it is generally. So this is kind of the easy part of it, yeah? Me v'qidulob can be I buy or I am buying. Subject marks in the first, second, third person singular, first and second person plural are the same as for in the third person, en or an. It can be either en, an, nen, n, s, 5. But of course, we have to remember from verb to verb. It's not really dependent on which conjugation class it belongs to, especially in the present. We just have to remember which verb takes which plural marker. Okay, so before we proceed with the sentences, I'd like to go through it. For example, Chanel, can you repeat after me, please? Conjugation of the verb to buy. Me v'qidulob.
Make a little. Oh wait.
Okay. Me v'qidulob.
Make a tulip.
V consonants. Me v'qidulob.
Which tense are we doing this in?
We are doing present. Me v'qidulob.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So qidulob, this is kind of a stem, and v is a subject marker. Kasagabia, Richard, can you please shen qidulob?
Shen qidulob.
Qidulob, sorry, a third person, Richard?
Is qidulobs.
Sorry, Richard, we.
ჩვენ ხიდულობ.
Storia, you.
თქვენ ხიდულობთ.
And they.
So ისინი ყიდულობენ.
კი ბატონო, ისინი ყიდულობენ. Thank you. გავაგზავნოთ. გადახდა, to pay. Tomk. მე ვიხდი, please.
მე ვიხდი.
შენ იხდი.
შენ იხდი.
ის
ეს იხდის.
გმადლობ, ჩვენ.
ჩვენ ვიხდით.
Storia, თქვენ.
თქვენ იხდით.
There we go. They.
ისინი იხდიან.
Again, Tomk. Isini, which is the case?
იხდიან.
Isini, is it, which is the case?
Isini.
No, nominative or dative?
This is nominative.
Nominative, because isini is the subject in this sentence. Exactly. Storia. That's right. Gagetheba. So Ivy is helping me here. Me vagetheb. Listening on, okay. What about David is listening. What about Gonzalo? Can you please? Me vagetheb. I'm doing, I'm making, I'm producing, I'm cooking, by the way. You can also sort of make dinner too. Gonzalo? Oh, me vagetheb. Okay. So, Mark. Conjugation, please. Me.
Sure. Me vagetheb.
Shen aketeb.
Shen aketeb.
Is aketebs.
Is aketebs.
Ჩვენ ვაკეთებთ.
Twen vaketebt.
თქვენ აკეთებთ.
Twen twen aketebt.
And ისინი აკეთებენ.
Isini aketeben.
ძალიან კარგია. მადლობ. Janine, to eat, შეჭმა. Infinitive. მე ვჭამ. So,
მე ვჭამ.
ყოჩახ, შენ ჭამ.
შენ ჭამ.
ის ჭამს.
ის ჭამს.
ჩვენ ვჭამთ.
ჩვენ ვჭამთ.
თქვენ ჭამთ.
თქვენ ჭამთ.
ისინი ჭამენ.
ისინი ჭამენ.
Perfect. They eat. Isini ჭამენ. Anything that comes right after me vagetheb, the noun, in fact, that is affected by the verb, will be in the dative, and we will see how it works. So David is helping me here. Me vqidulоб tsignebs. David, is there any chance to remember the translation of it? Me vqidulоб tsignebs.
I'm buying books.
Yes, exactly. I'm buying books. Okay, talk about tsignebs a little bit. What is this? It's
the mark of the dative at the end.
okay. So what about eb? What is this marker?
Several, plural.
Plural. Okay, David, what happens here? Me vqidulоб saintereso tsignebs.
So I'm buying interesting books.
Exactly. Saintereso tsignebs. Storia. Saintereso doesn't take any marker, but tsignebs, you can see there, dative marker is still in the plural. Storia. David, you again. Me vqidulоб ბევრ წიგნს. Now you tell me the translation.
So I assume bever was an adjective or something?
Yeah, adjective, which means?
Which means, I don't know, expensive or cheap or?
No, it is a lot, many. A lot or many, okay.
So yes, so so we don't have the plural anymore because there's the marker of, yeah, there's something that.
Collective words, we call it
collective
words on a numeral. Yes, very specific thing about making plural number in Georgian is that as long as the plural noun, tsignebi is preceded with a collective word, it goes back to singular. Okay? Ბევრ წიგნს. მე ვყიდულობ ბევრ წიგნს. I buy a lot of books. And the final sentence for this verb is David.
მე ვყიდულობ ბევრ საინტერესო წიგნს.
And we get
So I buy many interesting books.
სწორია. მე ვყიდულობ ბევრ საინტერესო წიგნს. David, if I told you that English books in Georgian is Inglisuri, can you put this Inglisuri somewhere in the sentence?
მე ვყიდულობ ბევრ საინტერესო ინგლისური წიგნს.
Inglisuri წიგნს or Inglisur წიგნს?
Okay.
Because still it is an adjective of a word and the noun, and the dative, noun and the dative, and it loses its nominative marker. Huh? Okay?
ინგლისურ.
Yeah, add somewhere the word zviri as an expensive. Can you?
What was expensive again?
Zviri, I have written it. You can see, I think. Okay.
Giri?
Zviri.
Zviri.
Okay. I have, maybe I will remove this. Okay.
ვყიდულობ ბევრ საინტერესო ინგლისური no. ინგლისურ ძვირი წიგნს.
Not zviri, you have to get rid of this nominative marker.
Zvir. Okay. Წიგნს.
Okay, let me put ბევრ zvir. When there are many adjectives, there is some sequence. Zvir, წიგნს. And now you tell me why zvir, not zviri, and not zvirs.
Zvir.
Because zviri is a descriptive word, modifier, adjective for dative noun, dative noun, which is tsignes. And according to the rule, look at it, all adjectives here
Lose the ending in the.
lose the nominative marker. That's why we know that they are, there has never been here, but still it doesn't have any nominative. This is how it looks like. მე ვყიდულობ ბევრ ძვირ საინტერესო ინგლისურ წიგნს. Okay?
Okay.
კი ბატონო. გავაგზავნოთ Brian. Are you willing to help us?
Yes.
Okay. Can you read, please?
Nino qidulobs mankanas.
Can you translate it if you remember? Okay.
Yes. Nino buys a car.
Sorry, Nino qidulobs mankanas. What about this next one, upcoming sentence?
So Nino qidulobs patara mankanas.
What does it mean?
Nino is buying I don't know what is patara.
It is small.
Okay, all right. So Nino is buying a small car.
Okay, patara. Does it have any markers? Case markers?
No.
No. So what is the case then?
This should be dative.
How can we assume?
Because of mankanas, the S at the end. Okay.
ძალიან კარგია. ოჩახ გავაგრძელოთ. Let's carry on. And Nino qidulobs.
Nino qidulobs patara. What is this word?
Yap.
Mankanas.
So translate.
So Nino is buying small. This is a cheap car.
Cheap car. Yep.
Car. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Car. Now tell me this kind of thing. Yep. What is the case here?
It's dative.
Okay. How does the nominative sound?
So it should be EAP.
Exactly. EAP. Very good. Thank you. მადლობ. გავაგრძელოთ. Richard. Can you read the next sentence if you can see it?
ჩვენ ვიქთით goals.
Pools. ჩვენ
Sorry, pools.
ვიხდით pools. კი ბატონო. It means so ვიხდით was the verb.
ვიქთით, ჩვენ ვიქთით pools.
We pay pools, by the way. Pool is money.
Pools, okay.
We
Money.
pay. Can you translate that, Richard, for us?
We pay money, did you say, yeah?
Did I? Okay. We
Yeah.
pay money. Got it. Okay. I gave the game out. Okay. So what about the next one then?
ჩვენ ვიხდით ცოტა pools. Pay, is that a lot of money?
No, little money.
Little. Oh.
My first version was a lot of money, but then I decided that no one would like the sentence.
No,
We'll pay a lot of money. And that's why I decided sota is better. Okay. So
So you want me to
translate.
Yeah, we pay a little money.
We pay a lot of money. Oh no, few money. Little money. Sorry,
little
we
money.
pay little money. ჩვენ ვიხდით ცოტა pools.
Okay.
კი ბატონო, სწორია. And the next is კი ბატონო, okay, anyone who wants to volunteer with this?
It's khachapuri.
Oh, khachapuri, good. Everyone knows this word. Kargi, khachapuri. This is one of Georgian national dishes, very famous. No, khachapuri. Richard, what is khachapuri all about?
Khachapuri. It's that nice bread, isn't it, with the cheese and stuff.
Oh, agree. So, who is reading about eating khachapuri? Who wants to read? Anyone else besides read? Okay, who is here? Tomak, can you please?
This ჩვენ ვჭამთ ხაჩაპურს.
Exactly. ჩვენ ვჭამთ ხაჭაპურს. Very Georgian sounds. It means
We eat khachapuri.
Sorry, we eat khachapuri. Sorry. What can be the nominative form of khachapurs?
Khachapuri.
Კი ბატონო, khachapuri. Can you insert instead of ჩვენ? Can you insert here? Okay, Richard and I.
What do you mean, Richard and
I mean ჩვენ, that is Richard and I, we eat khachapuri. Richard and I eat khachapuri.
Instead of ჩვენ, you mean, or?
Yes, because Richard and I, technically this is we, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and ჩვენ is we. So I want you to replace ჩვენ with Richard and I in the correct case.
I don't remember how to say and.
Okay, this was in numbers and it is da.
Okay. Richard da me.
Is it Richard or nominative?
Then it will be Richard, yeah. Richard.
Okay, da.
Richard da me.
Perfect. Richard da me vჭამთ ხაჭაპურს. So, again, say again. Გაიმეორე თამაკ.
Richard da me vჭამთ ხაჭაპურს.
Სწორია, Richard და მე ვჭამთ ხაჭაპურს. So, გავაგრძელოთ თამაკ, you again.
The next one, or do you mean the same one?
No, the next one.
ჩვენ ვჭამთ ბევრ ხაჭაპურს.
ჩვენ ვჭამთ ბევრ ხაჭაპურს. Can you try the translation?
I know we are eating a lot, or?
Okay, a lot. Okay, what is a lot? Many?
How many khachapuri?
Ბევრი. კი ბატონო. So here it is ბევრი and the nominative, but here we get ბევრ. It takes 0 marker because here it is დატივი. ჩვენ ვჭამთ ბევრ ხაჭაპურს. this word gemrieli, this is delicious, tasty. You again, Tomek?
Ჩვენ ჭამთ ბევრ გემრიელ ხაჭაპურს.
Storia, we eat. Translate, please.
We eat a lot of delicious hachapuri.
Storia, ჩვენ ჭამთ ბევრ გემრიელ ხაჭაპურს საქართველოში, in Georgia. საქართველოში, we can finish the sentence, okay? So, ბევრ გემრიელ ხაჭაპურს, again, ბევრი nominative should have been, but ბევრს dative.
And can you leave the subject, like don't mention it in a sentence in Georgian, or do you always have to use it?
We don't have to mention the subject as long as, because the verb marks the subject. Vu means nothing but first person. And vutu can mean nothing but first person plural. So you can freely skip the subject. Jumped.
And if you skip it, does anything change in the sentence, or it remains the same?
The sentence remains the same.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why you can skip some parts of the sentence as long as it is clear from the context. What is the subject? What is the, okay, for example, if I ask you, you can simply say jumped, and it is the whole sentence. Okay, yeah, jumped. So jumped. Yes, and it means that again, the to subject we, and as long as the context is clear, so it is in English, for example, you can say yes, eating. You cannot say it, it makes no sense. And in Georgian, if you write jumped, it makes absolute sense. It is the whole sentence, jumped. It's clear. კი ბატონო. შემდეგი ისინი აკეთებენ პიცას. Mark. Okay, ისინი აკეთებენ პიცას. What, read a little bit longer version of it.
Okay. ისინი აკეთებს. Okay. ისინი აკეთებს.
აკეთებენ. Yeah.
აკეთებენ. Oops. Okay. აკეთებენ. Italy. Oh my goodness, what is this? Italiur. Okay, sorry. Italiur. My goodness, I keep forgetting this.
What? Do you keep forgetting the word?
The I think that's a pizza. Pizzari.
No, try again.
Sorry, pizzas.
Pizzas.
Pizzas. Okay.
Pizzas. ისინი აკეთებენ იტალიურ pizzas. Translate.
So we are.
They
are. They. Eating.
So no, this is to do, make, or cook. They're making.
They make Italian pizzas.
They are making Italian pizzas. So it is not plural, it is singular. Can you make it plural, by the way? They're making pizzas. If, for example, they're making several portions of it. How would you say?
Isini aketeben. Sorry, aketeben. Italiur pizzebi
datevi
pizzeps.
Okay, and look at it. When we add the marker, which consists of more than 2 letters in English, very often truncation happens. Okay, biceps. And okay, and what is happening here, Mark?
Okay, I'll try. Isini aketeben did Italiur pizzas.
Isini aketeben.
pizzas, sorry.
ისინი აკეთებენ დიდ იტალიურ პიცას.
Italian pizzas. Okay.
Okay. So let's get back to noun adjective forms. You just look at it, just look, and let us try to drill some nouns, nominative and dative cases. For example, if I told you that the word, so here we had sahli, sahls, the house, in the nominative, and the house in the dative. Okay, here I'm writing the word zagli, which is a dog. Okay, Kate, what can be the dative of it? Okay, Chanel, try dative.
Okay. The word is Sahali.
Zagli is a dog in the nominative case. Look at it, Zagli. What is that?
Okay, so Sahali. Okay, you take the li off.
Yeah,
So would it
and
be would it be Saha? Sahals. Okay, because the S is at the end. Okay.
Yes, exactly. So E, nominative marker, but dative marker. Now, Chanel, let me make it a little bit more difficult. If I say Didi Zagli, which is a big dog, Didi Zagli. Now, what will be the dative of it? So we have to put.
So it will be Titi Sahalis.
You said Didi Zagls. Now, what is one extra letter here in Didi Zagls?
The S?
No, it's the S. It is still dative. E. As long as it is dative.
Yeah. Oh, because
of
it's
course.
because the
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Good. Okay. So here we have kata, a cat. Okay, cat. What is the dative of it? Gonzalo, would you please try? Gonzalo is, I think Gonzalo is just listening. Kargi. So Janine, kata is a cat. What is the dative of it?
Katas.
Soria. Katas. Patara is a small, and patara. Kata is a small cat. What will be that dative? Jenny?
Katas.
So you said patar katas or patara katas, which is right?
Patar.
Patara.
Oh, yeah.
Because I is not a nominative marker. It's just a stem. Only E gets removed. E disappears as a nominative marker. Kasagebia. Mankana. So just keep it here. Mankana. It is a car. Mankana. Okay, what will be the same? Okay, let it be chair. Skami. Abba, David, skami is a chair. Nominative marker E. Skami. So dative of it, David?
Scams.
Storia. What about my chair? This is chemi. I don't remember. Chemiskami, my chair. Now, David, chemiskami is nominative. What is that the view of it? Chem or chems scams. This optional, so okay. Chems scams. Sajmeli food. I buy food. Mel qidulub sajmels. I buy a lot of food. Mel qidulub bever sajmels. Okay. I buy a lot of delicious food. Me qidulub bever gemriel sajmels. Okay. But I buy a lot of delicious food. So Brian.
Okay, so me fqidlo, Bevr, Gamriel, such Mels.
ძალიან კარგია. Bever. Dative, dative, markerless. Gamriel, dative, markerless. Sajmels, object, and the dative. Okay. Bever, Gamriel, Sajmels. Okay. ძალიან კარგი. So today we've covered nominative and dative of personal pronouns, possessive pronouns, adjectives, and nouns, and also adjective noun declension together. Okay, with on the example of 4 verbs. Tomorrow we will discuss very briefly, of course, because it's possible to do the whole stuff in just 1 hour. We will start with discussing the 4 conjugation types of Georgia, and we will conjugate a couple of verbs from each class. Okay? No, just for the case of simplicity, we won't do the whole spreadsheet of it, but in the present, we will see how it looks like, and we'll talk about the types of verbs, but also we will do some practical exercises as well. Do you have any questions? Check it, Khobi.
How many classes are there?
There are 4 classes.
Okay.
Just 4. 4 is not too many. Huh? Check it, Khobi. No more questions? And tomorrow we will see how and in what way Georgian verb is difficult. How? So if I haven't convinced you yet that it is difficult, we will see it tomorrow. Yeah, we still have 2 minutes. If you guys have 2 minutes, I'll give you what. So any questions? Mark, you have a question? Okay.
Yes, I have a question. I was actually kind of curious because we were discussing about food, and I just want to know if, because I only know it by its name, it's khinkali. Is that nominative or is that its nominative?
Yes, this is a nominative form. And if you eat khinkali, you would say that's not khinkali, but khinkals.
Okay, got it.
Okay,
Yeah,
and it's Storia.
It's actually my favorite.
So you've tried, yeah, my favorite.
Yes, when I was in St. Petersburg, I went to a Georgian restaurant and it was wonderful. And the restaurant owners were really sweet. And
Georgians, kartuelebi. You have to try khinkali in Georgia. Okay,
okay, got it.
Okay, Batano, any more questions?
I have one question. Okay, I know that go-go is girl, but boy, if I spell it out, is B-I-C-H-I, but is that Beachy or Beachy?
Beachy. Yeah,
okay.
This is Beachy. Go-go and Beachy, yeah.
Okay, because the reason why I was asking, because I didn't want to mispronounce it, because it almost sounds like bitchy.
Yes, okay.
And I was like, wait, let me make sure I got that right.
You got it right. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Keep it done. Shekitkhwebi, any more questions? No? Okay, ძალიან კარგი. Thank you. Didi madloba. Nakhwamdis. See you tomorrow. Khwalamde.
Madloba. Nakhwamdis.
Nakhwamdis.